It's the Halloween season, baby, which means that a brand new VHS film is going to be dropping at the top of next month. A new trailer just arrived this week that has me even more excited for the new installment on October 3rd when it releases on Shudder. With some of the reviews coming out from Fantastic Fest this past week, we learned some juicy plot details regarding the upcoming segments that I want to break down here too. Let's talk a little bit about it. Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. If you're a huge VHS fan just like myself, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more horror movie updates and reviews. Also, the best way to support this channel is by becoming a Patreon supporter or channel member, where you'll see a bonus weekly review video. This week, I'm talking about Shudder's Night of the Reaper. Thank you to all of my channel members and Patreon supporters. Now let's get into this. On my birthday yesterday, which explains the 100 balloons behind me, they dropped a new VHS Halloween trailer. I'm officially a part of the 27 Club. Well, I hope I'm not, actually. Rest in peace to my rock and roll heroes Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, and Jimi Hendrix. For today's video, I'm primarily using that new trailer and Brian Tallarico's review of the 8th entry in the found footage anthology series, which premiered at Fantastic Fest this past weekend. Brian gave a generalization of each of the 6 segments in his review, which I want to talk about a little bit today. Kicking this off, let's talk about the infamous wraparound segment. When it comes to the wraparound segments in this series, they're usually not too great, and even sometimes nonsensical. Lately, however, I feel they've cracked the code. I'd go so far as to say that in the last 2 entries, VHS 85 and beyond, they had the best wraparound segments of the entire franchise. Both of them take on this mockumentary style of horror where you get rewarded by seeing each new chapter and how the story progresses. Take David Bruckner's Total Copy from VHS 85, for instance, which followed a research team studying a strange life form they discovered out in the desert that mimics human behavior. Beyond also had a killer wraparound from Jay Cheel called Abduction Adduction, discussing the real-life existence of aliens and what it would have to take to prove they're really out there. The wraparound segment here in VHS Halloween comes from Brian M. Ferguson, called Diet Phantasma, that I think is getting into something similar, if not better. Halloween's wraparound follows a focus group who taste tests a new soda called Diet Phantasma as a mad scientist records the horrific results. We got to see a few shots of it in the new trailer with these orange jumpsuit wearing test subjects holding cans of the mysterious soda. In his review, Brian promises everything from demonic possession to spontaneous combustion, but we even see one of the cameras light on fire here, probably because of telekinesis. This wraparound sounds like it's going to get even more and more insane as we continue to cut back to it. I am so excited for this one. I haven't seen this one yet, even though I would literally grovel on my knees in front of the people at Shudder in order to see it just a few days early, but I would bet my bottom dollar that Diet Phantasma here is going to be one of the best, if not the best, wraparound segment in the entire 8-movie franchise. Not that it's stiff competition, however. I'm pretty sure bottom of the barrel, what's the worst VHS segment? It's the VHS viral wraparound. That doesn't make a lick of sense. The first bona fide segment in VHS Halloween is Anna Zlakovic's Coochie Coochie Coo. And I think now is a good time to say that if you don't know any of these names I'm throwing out there, Anna Zlakovic, Brian M. Ferguson, I did a video a little while ago kind of breaking down their history in horror, some of the other projects that they've worked on. Check it out. Hopefully there's an info card up here in the screen. I think it would be like right here. I'm pretty sure. Diving headfirst into this Coochie, the first vignette of Halloween follows 2 kids who are getting to that age where it might be a little weird for them to still be trick-or-treating. I think many of us, including Art the Clown, would agree that trick-or-treating should be for everyone.
No candy for grown-ups. Come on.
Our ambitious not-so-little candy hunters discuss the local urban legend of a figure named Mommy who kidnaps teenagers just like them. Ooh. The teens then have an encounter with the cryptid at her labyrinth-style house, which turns into a fantastical nightmare. There's a sign in the trailer that reads, "He made me, Mommy," and a bunch of mutated baby people we saw in the new trailer that I can only assume is from the first segment. Maybe these folks are like Mommy's little babies. Ugh. Anna Zlakovic is known for her gross-out body horror and practical effects as well, so I'm sure we're gonna see a lot of that in this segment, which we're kind of already getting a taste of from the trailer anyways. I'm excited to see if this mommy cryptid creature is something similar to Ratma from 94 or Ozzy from 99. Segment number 2 is Ut Supra Seek Infra, which comes from Paco Plaza, one of the bigger names attached to this project. Paco created what I think is the scariest found footage film of all time, Wreck, which is a must-watch rewatch for fans of the subgenre. Don't just watch Quarantine. His segment, which translates to As Above, So Below, follows the lone survivor of an awful massacre. His entire group of friends were found dead by the police with holes where their eyes used to be. This one apparently cuts back and forth between the investigation and the friend group's misadventures before they lost their eyes. There's a few shots in the trailer that show some stupid kids going into what is likely an abandoned building during Halloween, where they find the title of this short on the wall upside down. We've pointed out before on this channel that there's already a killer found footage flick called As Above, So Below that I think Paco is riffing on here. That 2014 film that I can proudly say I saw on opening night follows a group of treasure hunters that descend into the Paris catacombs and accidentally cross through the gates of hell. I think these teens here are going to have a similar fate. There's also some footage of a SWAT team going into the same looking place and floating up into the air. That's usually not a good thing. There's also a ton of demonic looking creatures running around, which tells me we may get some Wreck inspired chase scenes from demons instead of demonic zombies. You know, usually in VHS there's like one segment that I'm not so crazy about, but so far, no misses here, and I'm also loving the creative talent behind and in front of the camera. Everything we've talked about so far I think is gonna bang. Holy crap, and that's not changing anytime soon, because next up is the short that our reviewer Brian says will make the most noise. Casper Kelly's Fun Size. This one starts off in a similar way to Anna's first segment, with trick-or-treaters making their rounds to collect as many sugary treats as humanly possible. When they come across a porch with a candy bucket labeled with a sign that reads "Take One," none of them follow that simple rule. This transports them to a macabre candy factory where they're hunted down by confection creatures and turned into fleshy sweets themselves. It's described as being a departure from the typical dark, grainy, shaky cam this series usually utilizes. It instead employs bright colors and focused shots to push a cartoonish yet horrific vibe that the Fantastic Fest crowd cackled over. This is something I will continue to praise about the VHS franchise that hasn't been lost here in Halloween, obviously. The fact that pretty much every segment in each movie will elicit some sort of different emotion or horror. While the wraparound and Fun Size here seems to be a little more silly and outrageous, something like Anna's Lakovic's Coochie Coochie Coo, which yes has a silly name but I think is going to be pretty dark and gross, and also Paco Plaza's take on As Above, So Below, I think are gonna be darker, straight up horror. Speaking of switching up the tone, Alex Ross Perry's Kid Print is said to be the darkest segment in VHS history. Even though I know the reprieve of Fun Sized is going to be great and a super fun time to watch, just like everything else Casper Kelly has made, this is the segment that I'm the most intrigued by. Kid Print follows a man who works at a photo shop that takes videos of local kids by their parents in case they go missing on Halloween night. He's awfully busy this year before the holiday, however, as a lot of kids have gone missing recently. Brian from Roger Ebert promises that this fella isn't as he seems and may just have something to do with the missing kids. As you might be able to assume by now, this one deals with some pretty awful things happening to children, which may be a step too far for some VHS fans. That's why I think it's a pretty safe prediction to say that this could be the darkest segment in VHS history. I will say though, I still have emotional trauma from the way that VHS 2 ends. Just to hit on this again, I feel like this movie is capturing that thing I love about VHS so much, where if you don't like one segment, you may like the next one. We're exploring different tones of horror through a similar theme, and in this case, it's Halloween night. Last but certainly not least is Home Haunt, coming from Michelin Pit Norman and R.H. Norman. This segment just got a lot more interesting from the latest trailer. This one follows a family who have run a haunted house at their suburban home for years, but their son isn't interested in doing it again this year. After the father convinces him to do it for just one more year, a cursed record catches fire and unleashes hellacious creatures, one of them being the haunted house itself. Just like a lot of the other projects the Normans have worked on, it looks like we're getting some crazy creatures running around causing chaos and of course delivering some fun surprises throughout. The final segments are usually the most explosive, if not the most outrageous, to leave you with one last bang before it's over. It seems like the perfect end cap for VHS Halloween and kind of ties it back to the original segment again by being about a spooky house where something isn't right. It's all wrapped up nice and neat with a bow on top. As the self-proclaimed biggest VHS franchise fan, I am unbelievably excited for Halloween, which is dropping on Shudder on October 3rd. It's just not the Halloween season anymore if we don't have a new one of these flicks coming out. And before you click away, because it's obviously the end of the video, we're doing a big ol' nasty live stream the night of October 3rd, ranking literally every single segment in VHS franchise history, including the 6 new ones that came from Halloween here. Don't miss that stream at 7 p.m. Eastern second time on October 3rd because you will actually be able to cast your votes and determine where each of the segments should be ranked. Are you guys excited for VHS Halloween? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.